Heads up, it's the Roll Jays podcast, the voice of the Creighton basketball fan. With your hosts, Jimmie Allen, Alex Drake, and Casey Matthews. Join the crew and meet CU players, coaches, and a whole lot more. Now, the Roll Jays podcast. Here's Jimmie Allen.
Welcome into the Roll Jays podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing, Pyramid Contractors, and Pepper Jack's Grill. Jimmie Allen, Casey Matthews, Alex Drake with you live from the New Yorker outside of Madison Square Garden ahead of Creighton's matchup tonight with the DePaul Blue Demons. DePaul upsetting Georgetown last night. 3 consecutive wins for the Blue Demons over Warriors this season. Casey Matthews, we'll start with you. Obviously, a lot of people expecting to see a third matchup between Creighton and Georgetown. Not what we're going to get. We're going to see Chris Holtman and the Blue Demons again. I feel like this matchup favors Creighton a little bit better than Georgetown.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely expecting Georgetown to be able to pull this one out. I mean, it's cliche, but it's hard to beat a team 3 times in the same season. And so I was expecting Georgetown to win that game last night. But credit to DePaul. I mean, they're hot. That's what you need if you're a team like DePaul right now where, you know, they don't have anything to lose. And so a team like that gets hot at the right time. They're well coached. They have talent. You can go in and knock somebody off. It happened to us against Georgetown a few years ago, right? And we ended up losing to Georgetown in the championship game. But before that game, they beat the favorite in Villanova. So, you get hot at the right time and anything can happen. So I expect our guys to be focused tonight. The last time we played DePaul, we won, but it wasn't our best showing. In fact, you remember on the radio show, the coaches were disappointed in the way that we played that game, as were we. So I expect us to respond tonight and play well, build some confidence into what's going to be a tough game tomorrow night, no matter who we play.
You hear the band in the background. We're getting ready to send the team off to Madison Square Garden here in a few minutes. The chance for you to walk through the camera running that direction for you. Hopefully the band's not overpowering the sound of our microphones right now. But we will have the entire walkthrough for you. As Creighton gets ready to head off to MSG. Alex Drake, obviously a disappointing appearance for Creighton a year ago. The loss to a Providence team that just got hot at the right time. To Casey's point, you're clearly not hoping that's the case tonight. What do you need to see from Creighton early tonight to give you some faith that it's not going to be the same one-and-done situation like a year ago?
Well, I think you got to start by hitting Casey's guy, the big pal, right? You got to get inside the big pal early and often. Set the tone there, and then you got to get the accessory roles going. You got to get Jemiah Neal back on track. He's struggled as of late. It'd be nice to see him get going. Obviously, Jason Green mixed in when he can, and Jackson McAndrews started to play really well the last few games offensively. He's solid defensively and rebounded, but getting those guys going, and then obviously the second key to the cog is Stephen Ashworth, right? If he comes out and shoots well, then you feel really good if you have your 1-2 punch going.
And we're waiting to hear from Father Hendrickson. He's going to join us in a minute here to talk about the alumni race and putting everything together here. We'll also hear from Marcus Blossom, Creighton's athletic director. We might not be able to bring James all by for a minute. Father Hendrickson building. We're going to as many calls as we can before we send the trains off to MSG. Casey, better this record, better this Kansas tournament. What changes about Greg McDermott this time of year in this building?
What changes? I mean, I don't know that anything necessarily changes. What I think happens is there's a heightened sense of awareness of what's on the line. And so when you know that this is an environment where you win this game, you get to play on Friday night in the Big East tournament, which I hope you guys experience it because it's to me it's the best night in college basketball, maybe other than the Final Four night. I think the environment is amazing. You know that game is going to have you're going to have 4 great teams that are going to play that night, and it's just a special moment to play in. I don't know that we change or that anything changes for Creighton as much as it is that we've been fortunate to have very good players and an excellent coach that when it matters most, we raise our game.
2 of those teams have already punched their ticket. St. John's knocks off Butler 78-57, and Marquette just closed out the win, the comeback over Xavier 89-87. The Golden Eagles got up late, and they were up by 3, and they chose to foul, sending Xavier to the free throw line and the Musketeers not able to overcome. Again, we are a year removed from this team showing up as the 2 seed from a year ago, and unfortunately not able to get it done in that sense. This year, Creighton taking on a team that they've beaten twice and have beaten by double digits in both of those games. But there does seem to be something about this gym that has caused some issues for Creighton. I mean, we talked to Marcus Zagorowski about it earlier in the week. We posted the video on our YouTube page. Check out the Roll Jays podcast on YouTube. Please subscribe as well. But that feels like there's something that Creighton has been able to do to kind of get those demons, literally and figuratively today, off of their back, right? I mean, they've had better runs at Hinkle. I mean, they did lose to St. John's this year inside the Garden, so not necessarily the best start. But you hope maybe the one loss of the season that happens at MSG has already happened earlier in the season. Casey, when we talk about trying to make sure that you're not thinking about past failures and keeping what's in front of you and not letting what's happened before, what's some of the advice that you've given guys in the past about letting the moment not get to it and not worry about what's happened before and focus on what we have at hand tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I would tell you, looking back and looking at previous games, certainly you have to do that as a coach because you have to strategize, you have to figure out what works and what doesn't work. But as a player, you really can't do that because, you know, you can draw on your confidence, but every game has to hold on and have to rest on its own merit. So when you go out tonight, I would tell these guys, hey, look, like, we are a team that is favored to win this game. We're favored to probably get on to the finals. But we, like I always say, everybody wants to win. And I would tell these guys, hey, look, like, if you go out there and let them play harder than you, we can lose tonight. But if you go out and play harder than them, that combined with being the better team on the court, we're going to be fine. And there's a lot of confidence that you can take in knowing that you are the best team on the court. It's just a matter of executing and playing your style of basketball for 40 minutes.
I'm really interested to see how the coach their playing style because they had 4 guys go over double digits last night. The majority of their points came in the paint. They got a huge night out of Trey Benson. He scored 18 points with 7 of 8 from the field. He had 6 dunks. He's not getting 6 dunks tonight. Alex, your point. You get right over and get going offensively.
Yeah, I mean, he's the 4-time rated Big East Defensive Player of the Year for a reason, right? And I think I said it not too long ago, but one of my favorite things about Creighton basketball the last few years is watching guys trying to attack and dunk on Ryan Kalkbrenner because it rarely works out for him. And I think more so, like, obviously as an offensive player, if you get that to work out, that is a huge boost for your team. But I don't think teams really recognize how much energy it gives Creighton when Ryan stuffs one at the rim like that. And so I hope to see them try and just kind of bank in on things continuing to go the way they have for 4+ years.
Obviously, when you have 4 guys scoring double digits like DePaul did, that gives you a ton of confidence. And we mentioned Chris Holtman has his team playing at an all-time confidence level. One thing that I wonder is going to play into effect maybe mentally for Creighton. We got the news today. Obviously, Ryan Miller takes a head coaching job. Is going to finish out coaching throughout the rest of the Big East tournament and then start worrying about Murray State next. There's been a lot of turnover in this program from an assistant coaching standpoint. We've seen that over the last couple of years, but there's been a consistency at the top of this program, and that's been huge as well. But obviously, Ryan Miller choosing to stay on this run, he must think that they've got a legitimate shot at winning this Big East championship. And congratulations to Coach Miller as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to step away during a run like this. I mean, you're going to always finish the season out. I don't know that I've really ever seen anybody not. Actually, it's an interesting question. But Ryan's a consummate professional, so he'll come ready. He'll still be doing his job, which is the offense for this team and preparing what we're going to run offensively in conjunction with Mac, obviously. So his preparation won't be any less. It's difficult, to go through interview processes and try to, get a head coaching job. It's the pinnacle of the profession, but at the same time, he knows that he's been a huge part of building this team and getting this team to where we are now, and he's certainly going to want to finish it off the right way. Very similar to Alan Huss 2 years ago. I remember when they told us he was leaving was in the NCAA tournament the night think it was the night before. Let's see, the night before we played Princeton, and we were able to still go out and win the game there in the NCAA tournament. So I don't think it will affect us tonight.
Yeah, but I mean, it's got to be in the back of a lot of people's minds, right? I mean, even on the coaching staff, there's probably a couple guys on the staff that are thinking, do I join him? Do I stay? What does Mac think about this? What does Mac think about losing a guy? We'll get into all of that and more. It is the Roll Jays podcast brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing, Pyramid Contractors, and Pepper Jack's Grill. We're going to talk to Father Hendricks. We're going to send the Jays off to MSG. All that will be live. Stay right here. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back on the other side of the break here on the Roll Jays podcast.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
This is why you need to try Pepper Jack's Grill, the best Philly cheesesteak in America. At Pepper Jack's Grill, we craft your Philly just the way you like it. Fresh ingredients, sizzling on the grill, and endless customization options. Not just Phillies, we've got rice bowls, burritos, nachos, and even vegetarian choices. And don't forget those crispy fries with our famous spicy ranch. With 10 great locations in Omaha, there's a delicious meal waiting for everyone in the family. Pepper Jack's Grill, your Philly, your way.
Welcome back to New York City, and we are live from the New Yorker. Jimmie Allen, Alex Drake, Casey Matthews with you here, getting ready to send off to MSG for the Jays. Casey, obviously this time of year, rest is an all-time high. We talked about it a year ago. Creighton went one and done, but they got a ton of rest heading into March Madness. Why is getting rest at this time as important, if not more important, than winning in some stakes? And do you think that's the case this season?
No, well, I mean, are you asking me, would it sometimes benefit you to not advance in this tournament to prepare you for?
Yeah. I think last year everybody agreed it was better for Creighton to get some rest at that time. Doesn't feel like the case this year. Do you agree? Do you think that this season it may be more important to win now than rest now, or where do you have that equation? That's
a really good question. I think that question always seems to be answered after the fact, and that you look back and go, oh well, maybe it was just best for us to lose and get some rest. I can't go there.
Sure.
I can't go there. This team has never won the Big East tournament. We've lost to, in the championship a few times. I want to win this thing. I want Coach Mack to have his moment cutting down the nets at MSG. I want Ryan Kalkbrenner to end his Big East career cutting down nets at Madison Square Garden. I want it for the fans. I remember when we made it to the Sweet 16. It was the COVID year, and there was such a big deal about breaking through to the Sweet 16. And it was a very special time. But at the same time, we really didn't get a chance to share that with the fans in the moment. I want the fans to get a chance to feel this and just have a really special week here at Madison Square Garden. Then you can turn the page. The other side of it is, your seed line is I think a 7 is probably the peak.
That's a good point.
So for us here in the Big East tournament, let's go out guns blazing and see what happens. And then, you know what, man, you got a couple days off, you rest, and then you come out swinging in the NCAA tournament. And in that situation, it's all about matchups.
On the flip side there too, Casey, you've seen several teams over the last 10, 12 years get hot in these tournaments. You have Cardiac Kemba's UConn team. You have a Louisville team that got really hot. A couple of teams that weren't great throughout the season, and they got hot in their conference tournament, went on to win titles, Final Four runs. There's countless stories of that. And I think for this team, the most important thing right now is to just win, right? Just win. build that confidence in a guy like Jackson McAndrew, who can really be an X factor in the next round of games, right? Like he has tape. Everybody knows he can shoot, but if he builds his confidence and goes into the NCAA tournament really confident, that just unlocks another level for this team. But on the flip side of all of that, I think, and we were talking about it a little bit when we were at the commercial break, I think not necessarily the conference tournament because there's a ton of familiarity, but I think once you get to the NCAA tournament, that can really shine a light on the staffs and the teams that are very well put together. Going down from a team like Creighton with Jeremy Anderson, who has monitored how much guys like Kalkbrenner and Ashworth and Jemiah practice every day, to Ben McNair taking care of the injuries. But then the way Creighton breaks out their scouting and who does what, they're always 1 to 2 games ahead at minimum. And in the NCAA tournament, when you don't have familiarity with those next opponents, that's huge.
Yeah, and Casey, I saw you over there talking when you walked in. You were talking to the managers and some people that don't get a lot of credit, Caminos. I know we talked about them on the postgame show. We haven't given a lot of credit on this podcast. For guys like that, I mean, obviously you've never been in that situation, but what are their roles this weekend, and what do they need to kind of help with today and maybe going forward for the rest of this weekend?
Yeah, so if you're going to just talk about the managers here, they're really kind of at every coach's beck and call in a sense of, if, like, for instance, they're going to be the guys that when the paper scouting report is ready, they're going to be the ones that make sure that gets printed and given out to the staff and to the players. They're going to be the ones that are going to the restaurants if they're going to go out to eat in restaurants early, make sure that the tables are ready, that the waters are on the table, that things like that are done. They're going to be the ones that are making sure that all the laundry is getting done. That Creighton practiced yesterday. That laundry needs to get done. They'll play tonight, and that laundry will need to get done. They'll have food at night for the guys, and they'll be the ones that make sure that gets ordered and gets up to the rooms. And the list really kind of goes on, and none of it's sexy, but it's the little things that really add up and allow this experience to be great for the players, but it also allows to run, because as great as John McHugh is,
he's one guy.
And he's elite. I've been on a lot of staffs. I've never seen anybody better. He can't do it on his own. He's got to have help, and that's why guys like Julian Berry, Gabe. Thinking back to old managers like Ian Kerwin and Brady Happy. Like I could name a lot of guys. It all adds up, man, and it's all a part. You just want to play your part in this, because when you're not out on the court or you're not the one standing up calling the plays, sometimes you kind of lose sight of your contribution. And those guys are certainly huge contributors to what the Jays will be accomplishing this week.
The preparation part of it is so interesting, because we talked to Marcus about this last week, and it's when you get into the building, you've got to go through all the checks that almost every civilian that's coming through the door does too. From a security standpoint, you don't get a ton of warm-up time. We just saw a game end, and it's not like the Jays haven't even left this building yet to go across the street, so it's not like they're looking at multiple hours. They're not even looking at really over 40 minutes of work time inside the gym. What are the most key components that you think goes on in those 20 to 25 minutes before the tip of the ball between shoot-around that guys need to get in?
Shots. You got to get shots up. This is a hard place to shoot. The lights are different here. You alluded to, we heard Marcus talk about it on the episode. If you haven't seen the Marcus Zagorowski that we released earlier today, check it out on YouTube and please subscribe. But Marcus talks about the lighting being different. It is. The angles of the lights are different. So it's an interesting place to play. It's a fun place to play, but you got to get out and take shots and take a lot of them. A guy like Stephen Ashworth that will be out there shooting and shooting and shooting. Even Ryan Kalkbrenner needs to get some perimeter jump shots up just to see it go in a few times from the perimeter. But that to me is the biggest thing. You're prepared. You know what's at stake. You know the team that you're playing. None of that's going to change. Now it's about getting a little sweat, get your heart rate up a little bit, get some confidence that you can make shots in this building, and then you just got to let it rip.
We're waiting for the Jays to come out and do the walkthrough. We'll have that live for you. We're also waiting on Marcus Blossom to come and grab a seat at the table. We'll interview Father Hendrickson and a whole lot more. It is the Roll Jays podcast brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing, Pyramid Contractors, and Pepper Jack's Grill. We'll be right back after a quick break here, getting a word from our sponsors.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at pyramidroof.com. Never settle for less.
This is why you need to try Pepper Jack's Grill, the best Philly cheesesteak in America. At Pepper Jack's Grill, we craft your Philly just the way you like it. Fresh ingredients, sizzling on the grill, and endless customization options. Not just Phillies, we've got rice bowls, burritos, nachos, and even vegetarian choices. And don't forget those crispy fries with our famous spicy ranch. With 10 great locations in Omaha, there's a delicious meal waiting for everyone in the family. Pepper Jack's Grill, your Philly, your way.
From the Roll Jays podcast, brought to you by Pixel Fire Marketing, Pyramid Contractors, and Pepper Jack's Grill. The Jays making their way through the ballroom here at the New Yorker right now. Unfortunately, we got a crowd in front of us. We're trying to get as many shots in as we possibly could, but right now there's too many bodies in our way. Obviously, folks very excited about this team and the prospects of winning a Big East title. If you haven't made the trip out to New York yet and you're looking for rooms, there are still rooms available here at the New Yorker. That's a great shot of Greg McDermott, his coach Matt. Heading out the door there is Casey Matthews, now joins us back here at the table live from the New Yorkers. James getting ready to head over to MSG now, and guys, obviously, very cool moment there for the staff to be able to be in front of all these fans and say goodbye.
It's a really special time, Jimmy. As a staff member, it's pretty cool, but you're kind of just want to get to the gym. And play. But for the players, it's really special for them. I know it's special for the fans. We use it as a recruiting tool because it's like video taking, and we'll show recruits that and just kind of show them how our fans travel. I've always been impressed with how Creighton fans travel. Even at a place like New York, where hotels are expensive, it's not easy to get to.
Not Jays really near Omaha.
So the Jays fans show up and they support. And when you're in a place like this, an environment like this, it's really special to be on that stage and know that you've got a lot of people behind you.
And we know we're having some audio issues. We appreciate everybody letting us know. We've got a speaker in front of us. We're trying to regulate that along with the band, so we appreciate everybody
chiming in. It does look
like
the band's packing up.
Yeah, so thankfully we won't have to deal with talking over those guys much longer. But, I mean, listen, I went down the elevator earlier, and I got to ride down with a couple of the tuba players, and they were very excited to be a part of this today. And when we talk about the importance of traveling we talk about how hard it is to win on the road in the Big East, right? That's a conversation we have all season long. And Father Henderson is not going to join us. We'll talk about that in a minute. Father, if you want to go grab that seat next to Casey down there, we'll hand you the microphone. There's that. Yeah. Father, can you just talk about how big if you want to stand right here, that might be easier for you to hear us. Sorry. There you go. We'll grab you a seat. This is the beauty of live podcasting, folks. Father Henderson now joined us here on the Roll Jays podcast. Father, obviously, it's awesome to see this big of a turnout. What does it mean to you to see this many people from the Omaha area make a trip to New York City?
It's just a testament to the fan base, the friendship with Creighton University, and we've had great support for so many years. It just keeps building with the success of the program, the culture. We're about community, we're about family. You can see it in an event like this, coming to be together to cheer on Blue Jay basketball.
Father, you just said we're about family. On senior night, we heard so much about Coach Mack and how he builds that family culture. As someone who leads not only an athletics department, but an entire school, what do you do to make sure that family atmosphere permeates throughout the institution?
Well, number one, you're absolutely correct about Greg being a terrific ambassador for the university and for treating our players like students and with great respect. We do that throughout the whole institution, and my work is to continue to facilitate that with our faculty and our staff who are on the front lines of working with our students day in, day out and building that sense of community and that family with one another. I have lunch with students, a different group, every Monday when I can at the university, and I always say, what do you like about Creighton? They always say something about the sense of community there, about the faculty caring for them, working with them, building those relationships. It's just remarkable. It's the Creighton way.
Well, as a Creighton grad, I can tell you I felt it as well. When I was going to school, so
That's
I appreciate
the consistency.
it.
I just hear that so constantly. It's wonderful about the institution.
Why do you think that is?
I think it has a lot to do with the size of the institution. I think it has to do with geography and where we are.
Sure.
Since of being in the middle of the Midwest, it has a lot to do with the campus architecture. It has a lot to do with about the people want to be at an institution that's Jesuit and Catholic. We have great values and ideals that's aspirational about changing the lives of students and about them to go out and change the world around us.
How do you get the city to help embody that family atmosphere, though? I mean, we talked about it on senior night. People that have never met a lot of these players were crying.
I tell you what, the city just steps up and steps in. So routinely, 18,000 people once a week, if not twice a week, down at CHI, rain or shine or snow, coming out to support the Blue Jays. We have people there that actually, you're completely right, have so little to do with the university, and yet they really like the basketball culture, the sporting, what it does for Omaha, what it does for the state, even what it does for the profile of the institution of Creighton University. They show up, and we appreciate that friendship and that loyalty.
How do you balance? Here, do you want to take these up? Okay. How do you balance the school aspect versus the athletics aspect of it from a community standpoint to make sure the athletes and the students are being treated as the same, but still make it, when it is 17,000 people inside the CHI Health Center, that it is a spectacle and there is a show being put on? How do you balance those two things? Because they kind of have to merge and be hand in hand, right?
I think you're absolutely right. And, if you look at what's happening today in college sporting, it's becoming so transactional. It's evolving by the day about name, image, and likeness dollars and about revenue sharing and all those kinds of things. But we work hard to keep humanizing what we're doing and leaning into those important relationships, treating people fairly and respectfully. I just think that's so important.
I think that's an interesting topic to have with you, because I think everybody thinks athletic directors, coaches, collectives, and obviously Bird Club sponsors
A lot of money in
this
sports.
podcast. Is that something you're involved in in a day-to-day aspect, or maybe even a bi-weekly conversation?
It's an important part of who we are as an institution, and as a Big East school, we are opting into the settlements of the House case.
Sure.
That's not fully settled. That'll happen probably next month in April. But all Big East institutions are opting into the terms of the settlement. It means we will participate in the revenue sharing program, the NIL, which happens now in and through the university. So we're raising money. We're asking our fans, our friends to step up and to help and to provide that support. We're looking for other ways to achieve that. And we also want to do it without using operational dollars of the university. We want to look for new funds to support this program.
So obviously at a university, priority number one is education. So coming from your seat, how hard is it to also prioritize athletics that you use as an ambassador to drive the school?
Athletics achieves remarkable success in academics. And some of our student athletes, when I was teaching at Creighton 25, 30 years ago in the Department of Philosophy, some of my best students were student athletes.
Sure.
Dedicated, focused, hardworking, seeking help from the professor, from me when they were going to miss classes, to being disciplined. We have a grade point average, an annual grade point average, about 3.5 GPA in our student athletes program. We have a graduation rate just slightly below that of the normal population, like 96%. So, I mean, it's really remarkable.
That's incredible, yeah.
So we work hard with study hall and different kinds of academic success programs and mentoring with our student athletes if there's student athletes who are struggling. But we got to maintain that student reality. They're students first, and that's becoming more challenging as well, especially in key sports.
Well, let's change topics to the basketball game. I see you all the time at the games. You're sitting on the end. I know hoops. Talk us through this game. What's Father Hendrickson's keys to Creighton winning this game?
You don't want me to do that.
Come on, we want it. We want it.
We need it.
I'll be like Coach McDermott, go.
Standing up.
Get up, go.
In all seriousness, though, I know you've been here many times. Can you talk about just this tournament in general, as someone who you're in a lot more meetings, obviously, than we are in the Big East? Like, the importance of this tournament and this building is huge for the Big East. What's it mean to you personally?
It's really great. I lived in New York City for 8 years, so it's coming home in a sense. I lived up at Fordham University for 3 years, and then at Columbia University doing my doctorate for 5 years. Most of that I lived down on 16th Street, so not so far from here. But I love coming back to the city. I know it very well. I've got a lot of friends here. I've got mentors and others I've just had a lot of professional experience with. Madison Square Garden is the icon. It's the mecca of basketball. Every conference wants to do their tournament here, and the Big East continues to hold on. We pay for it.
Sure.
It's not cheap, but it's a commitment.
Yeah.
And something
it's
about
paying
holding on
off.
to the Big East is paying off. It's about $1 million a game, by the way.
Wow. That's it, huh?
That's it. That's it.
You shouldn't have told us that.
Yeah. Hey, but we're fighting off all the other conferences, and we got it.
Father, you mentioned Mac, and obviously we give Mac his flowers on this podcast every week. But can you talk about your relationship with Greg McDermott, what he's meant to your time at Creighton as well?
Greg and I have a great relationship. We try and meet about 4 to 5 or 6 times a year.
Sure.
Some of us to do some problem solving or to get into some business, and otherwise it's just a checkup.
Play some more golf, and you might see him more.
Play some more golf. That's right. I got to get out there.
Yeah.
I took lessons during COVID, but I haven't kept up.
Sure.
I haven't kept up.
Why has he? We talked about this on the radio show last week. We talked about what Dana built, and it was kind of like the little engine that could in Omaha, and it was a great Missouri Valley Conference team. And then Mac comes in from Iowa State, and he takes this thing and he takes it to a whole nother level. What have you seen from Greg McDermott that you've seen him be able to do that, and why has he been able to do it so successfully?
There's probably a lot of ways to answer. The one thing that really sticks out to me, it's the year before I got here, the year before I came as president, is Creighton going into the Big East.
Sure.
And I think Creighton, under Greg's leadership, with Bruce Rasmussen, now with Marcus Blossom, has continued to adapt and lean in and become a Big East institution, become a Big East basketball program with the men, with the women. Look at what our volleyball program's been able to achieve. But the Big East has made us smarter and more competitive because that's the kind of teams we're playing with more routinely. We don't look and feel like a Missouri Valley school anymore. There's nothing wrong with being a Missouri Valley school, but we look and feel like a Big East institution.
Yeah.
So we've stepped in and up with the competition, and that's also with academics too. We're going to have a Big East poster presentation on Saturday morning in Madison Square Garden for undergraduate research. And Creighton leads the way in those efforts as well. But to your point, we've evolved as a Big East institution, and I think that's a big part of the story.
Father, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for doing this. That's Father Henderson from Creighton University. We'll let you get off to Madison Square Garden and go join the rest of the team.
All right, go Jays.
Thanks for your time. We'll be right back. We're going to talk to Marcus Blossom, Creighton's athletic director, as well here on the Roll Jays podcast.
Heads up, it's the Roll Jays podcast, the voice of the Creighton basketball fan.
Are you dreaming of your business dominating local Google searches, drawing in customers effortlessly? Look no further. I'm Courtney, the Google gal from Pixel Fire Marketing. Need assistance with your Google business profile? From verification to getting more reviews, fixing maps to tackling annoying Google calls? I've got you covered. Your profile sets you apart and ensures you're the top choice for local customers. Visit fixmygbp.com for our $297 special offer. Visit fixmygbp.com for more details.
When you shop local, you help strengthen our community. So if you need roof repair, gutters, siding, even windows, call local Pyramid Contractors. They're the #1 roofer in Omaha for more than a dozen years. Let Pyramid Contractors come and give you a free estimate. Give them a call at 402-502-9300. That's 402-502-9300. Or visit them online at PyramidRoof.com. Never settle for less.
This is why you need to try Pepper Jack's Grill, the best Philly cheesesteak in America. At Pepper Jack's Grill, we craft your Philly just the way you like it. Fresh ingredients, sizzling on the grill, and endless customization options. Not just Phillies, we've got rice bowls, burritos, nachos, and even vegetarian choices. And don't forget those crispy fries with our famous spicy ranch. With 10 great locations in Omaha, there's a delicious meal waiting for everyone in the family. Pepper Jack's Grill, your Philly, your way.
Who needs Marcus Blossom when you can have the world famous Connor Hafford on your podcast?
Wow.
It's the first time that we've had you on. We appreciate you being here.
Wow, so Marcus just snubbed you guys.
No, I think he might be coming back. We're still going to try.
All right.
See if Creighton's athletic
If he
director.
sneaks up behind me, you guys got to let me know.
Yeah, we'll give you a heads up. What are you excited the most about to see Creighton against Paul for the third time tonight?
I mean, I think
You've seen all 3 games live. You got to call the first one.
I tell you what, man, like that last game in Omaha a couple weeks ago, it got a little hot. You know, I don't think these teams like each other. I don't think DePaul likes Creighton. I don't think Creighton likes DePaul.
I don't think DePaul likes anyone right now.
No, and they that's part of the story. I mean, they got a little edge to them now, which is a little bit different. They're a competitive team. If they get going from 3, then all of a sudden you might be at a ball game.
CJ Gunn, who had the moment with Brian Colquitt on the hoop in Omaha, rolled his ankle last night. That's something I got to keep an eye on. We'll see if he's perfectly healthy or not tonight. Obviously, we talked about Steph to beat a team 3 times. We saw Stephen Ashworth getting red hot on senior night. It'd be great to see that kind of carry over. If he doesn't get going offensively, who do you think kind of needs to pick up that slack?
Well, I mean, easy answer, but it always starts with Kalkbrenner.
Right.
You kind of have to go from there. But man, I've been. It's been a while since there's been a Jemiah game. You know, it's been a while. He affects the game now in a bunch of different ways. That's been part of his development. But you kind of want to see him, demand it a little bit. And
you got to get him going to have a deep run in any version of a tournament.
You need 3. Yeah, I mean, you need 3 guys, and you need all you can get from those role guys too. So it's tournament basketball, man. Like just because it's DePaul and Creighton doesn't mean what is it now, 23 in a row against these guys or something like that? That doesn't mean nothing anymore in a tournament deal like this.
I was there 5 years. I never lost to them. It's like it's always been one of those teams that roll the balls out. You're going to win, but under Chris Holtman, that's going to change.
Yeah.
He's a really good coach, and he'll get him back going. Hopefully tonight's not the night. I mean, tonight's one of those nights for me, like, it brings back some Georgetown memories, actually, because that year is when they got hot. They beat a couple of teams they shouldn't have. Next thing you know, we're facing them in the championship game, and we actually had a big lead, stumbled a little bit, and then you got to play the game for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So, we'll see what happens, but we got to come out strong tonight for sure.
No doubt. Creighton can't look ahead of tomorrow. It might. You might be, just kind of looking out of the side of your eye. But the fact is, like, Creighton hasn't been very good here in the Big East tournament. So, like, that's one part of it that you're looking to, get off the ground a little bit tonight. DePaul's going to come at you, and then you start looking around you, and you look at what a semifinal matchup could look like. Marquette and St. John's going to be awesome tomorrow. And if you get Creighton UConn, I mean, that's going to be pretty good too. Creighton Villanova would be really good too.
Friday night of the Big East tournament we're just talking about. To me, it's the best night in college basketball. I love it. The arena is electric. On top of that, you're either going to have Villanova or UConn.
Yeah.
If you're a Creighton fan, this is why you were excited about going to the Big East to begin with.
Absolutely.
Many years ago. But to do it with a Ryan Kalkbrenner, Stephen Ashworth, Dulu to Jemiah Neal, have a chance to play Saturday, probably against St. John's for a Big East championship. That's special, man.
It's so good to be a part of this thing. I mean, this is my first time here. I mean, Casey, but I always hear about Friday night at the Big East tournament. I mean, it's electric. Like, I was in there a little bit today, and I was a little disappointed with the St. John's turnout today, but maybe they come in tomorrow and they get red hot.
It's still a work week, and they got the 12 o'clock game. It's like,
right.
To me, the Big East probably almost doesn't want St. John's to be the one seed and playing that game.
Probably, yeah. But if you get them, they're into tomorrow now, and all of a sudden it'll be pretty hot here tomorrow. But no, this is so cool, and having it in this city, and the one venue for 40 plus years, it's magical. Like, it's really, really cool. So super cool that Creighton gets to be a part of it.
I think one of the biggest keys, obviously we talked about Ryan Faulkner and Jermaine. I just want to see him get off to a fast start. I felt like this year, and I don't know if you felt the same way, I felt like at home this year they didn't get out to a ton of fast starts. And they played from behind a lot, especially against lesser opponents.
To bog things down a little bit too when he doesn't get a quick bucket or something, like, because then you're trying too hard to get it to him, and everyone knows you're trying to get it to him, especially against a team like this who's really undersized and wants to shoot the three, so it's a tricky matchup from that perspective. But you should be, I always feel in these games like when the obvious thing here is, I remember asking Mac before the first DePaul game in Chicago, like, hey, you got to get it to Kalkbrenner, right? Like, to start things off. It's such an obvious question. But then you think about it, and you're like, don't try too hard. It's got to come within the flow of things. It's got to come within the flow of things, and Creighton's got to shoot it and all those things as well. But absolutely,
part of what you're saying there too, not trying too hard, is this isn't a great passing team. You just aren't. Steven can pass a little bit. Fedor's probably the next best passer on the team. So you're exactly right. If you try to force him the ball and you're putting him in tough spots, or you're making that tough catches, pulling him away from the rim, you mitigate some of the advantage that he has just in his natural size. So I agree with you completely there. What's going to be interesting tonight, and I'm interested to hear your take on this, as someone who you're so involved in the atmosphere of games. This is the 2 versus, what is the ball? The 10.
Yeah.
The fans in this building that are not Creighton fans are going to be DePaul fans tonight.
You bet.
I'm interested to see if DePaul gets off to a little start, which they have the advantage. They played last night. They've won 3 or 4 games in a row. In that regard, they have more momentum than we do, I think. What will that translate to? How will this crowd affect the game?
Well, think about it. I mean, people are coming in for the night session. The next game is Villanova and UConn. Those 2 teams are not fans of Creighton, So, like, you're totally right. Everybody's going to be against you a little bit.
Fans stop by and say hello.
Here you go. Yeah, well, hey, you go on. Give me a little go Jays. Go Jays, baby. That's what I'm talking about. No, I mean, it's a great turnout from Creighton fans. I don't know what it's like, compared to previous years for Creighton fans at the Big East tournament, but it's a good turnout, so they should have their presence felt in there. But no doubt about it, if you get a neutral court environment, whether it's here, whether it's in the NCAA tournament, people are rooting for the underdog. So get off to a nice quick start tonight and just fizzle all that out right away.
If they're not going to deal with that tonight, I promise you we're dealing with it tomorrow and Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, let's get used to it.
Ryan Faulkner is public enemy number 1 in this tournament right now. I mean,
you're playing road games. That's part of the deal here. Like, it's part of being a Midwestern team in the Big East Conference. So, yeah.
I want to ask about you for a second. What are you most excited about for your first experience at this tournament at MSU? What are you looking forward to the most?
I went in there earlier and I just kind of walked around like, I'm a person who has to know where everything is, and it's impossible in that building.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on. It's huge. There's the bridge over the whatever, and everything's kind of closed off behind. So I seeing the place, feeling the place, and then having Creighton in it, it's just such a unique thing. It's so cool.
We're gonna ask you the toughest possible question.
Yes.
We need you to do your best Josh Hodson impersonation. The slate left is DePaul, Creighton, Villanova, UConn. How would you grunt that slate?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Now Creighton DePaul is not gonna elicit a huge grunt, I don't think, from the common fan. But Villanova, UConn should be really good tonight. Eric Dixon's going to try and, go out guns a blazing. It's probably Kyle Neptune's last stand, right? So they're going to want to win it, and they got the guns to. They always have, right? So it should be 2 pretty electric games tonight.
That's our favorite Roll Jays live Jays live host, here on the Roll Jays podcast. You can also catch it 10 to 2 on 1627. Skyler Happy. Appreciate you doing
Thank you, guys.
I don't think we're gonna hit Marcus Boston. We gotta pack this thing up and get over to the garden as well. Thank you for joining us here on the Roll Jays podcast. For Jimmie Allen, Alex Drake, and Casey Matthews, we will see you after the game on 1620 The Zone.